Have you ever been told that you should text first more often? That if you don't, people might forget you, lose interest, or think you don't care? But what if that's not the full story? What if never texting first isn't a flaw, but a quiet form of emotional intelligence? Because the truth is, people who don't initiate conversations all the time often aren't distant or uninterested. In many cases, they've simply developed deeper awareness, stronger boundaries, and a different way of connecting. And today, you're going to see what that really means. Here are 4 hidden psychological traits behind people who rarely text first, and why this behavior might actually be a strength. Number 1. You value genuine effort over forced connection. Psychology shows that humans naturally invest more in relationships that feel mutual. When you don't always text first, it's not because you don't care, it's because you're subconsciously looking for reciprocity. You want to know, would this person reach out to me too? Instead of chasing attention, you observe who shows up. For example, think about a time when you stopped initiating conversations with someone, and suddenly, the silence became loud. That moment probably told you everything you needed to know about the balance in that relationship. And that's not weakness. That's clarity. You're not avoiding connection, you're filtering for real connection. Number 2. You've developed emotional independence. Research indicates that emotionally independent people don't rely heavily on constant communication to feel secure. They don't need daily messages to validate their worth. If you don't text first often, it might be because you're comfortable being on your own. You don't feel the urge to fill silence, just to feel connected. For instance, while others might feel anxious if no one messages them for a few hours, you're able to focus on your own life, your own thoughts, your own space. And that's powerful. Because it means your happiness isn't controlled by notifications. It comes from within. Number 3. You tend to overthink social dynamics. Now, this one is more nuanced. Psychology shows that people who are more self-aware often analyze social interactions more deeply. If you don't text first, it might be because you've thought things like, what if I'm bothering them? What if they're busy? What if I'm the only one putting in effort? So instead of acting impulsively, you hold back. But here's the positive side most people miss. This level of awareness means you're highly considerate of others. You think before you act. You respect people's time and emotional space. That's not insecurity, that's sensitivity. And when balanced, it becomes a strength that makes your relationships more thoughtful and respectful. Number 4. You have strong internal boundaries. Research in behavioral psychology suggests that people with stronger personal boundaries are less likely to overextend themselves socially. If you don't text first often, it could be because you're not trying to be available to everyone all the time. You don't feel the need to constantly maintain every connection. Instead, you protect your energy. For example, you might prioritize meaningful conversations over small talk, or you might wait until you genuinely feel like reaching out, instead of doing it out of obligation. And that's something a lot of people struggle to learn. Because constantly initiating, constantly checking in, constantly trying to keep conversations alive, can actually come from a place of fear of losing people. But you've started to move beyond that. You understand that the right connections don't need to be forced every single day. So if you're someone who doesn't text first very often, it doesn't mean you're cold. It doesn't mean you're distant. And it definitely doesn't mean you don't care. It might mean you value depth over frequency. It might mean you've learned to stand on your own emotionally. It might mean you're paying attention to who truly shows up for you. And most importantly, it might mean you're protecting your peace in a world that constantly demands your attention. But here's something to reflect on. There's a difference between choosing not to text first and being afraid to connect. One comes from strength. The other comes from fear. And understanding that difference is what helps you grow without losing who you are. So the next time you hesitate to reach out, don't immediately assume something is wrong with you. Instead, ask yourself, Am I honoring my energy or avoiding connection? Because awareness like that is where real emotional intelligence begins. If this resonated with you, there's a good chance you see the world a little differently than most people. And on this channel, we explore those hidden personality traits that make you who you are. So if you want to understand yourself on a deeper level and turn these quiet behaviors into real strengths, make sure to subscribe for more psychology insights like this. Because sometimes, the things you thought were your weaknesses are actually your greatest strengths. You just haven't seen them that way yet.